If you're using a glass or a can, it's recommended to add a loop of painter's tape to the top and the bottom of the glass, so the phone stays in place when you touch it. If you're a lefty or a righty, it doesn't matter. You can position the phone any way that is easiest for you to draw. Now it's time to position your image on the paper. Press the Move button, and with one finger, you can move the image around. Using 2 fingers, you can enlarge, shrink, and even rotate the image relative to your paper. When you are done positioning your image, make sure to unpress the Move button. This locks your image in place so you can zoom in to draw fine details, or zoom out to see your drawing as a whole. To adjust the transparency or opacity of the image, press the Opacity button. This brings up the opacity slider. You can move the slider to make the image more or less transparent. You can also switch the opacity on and off using the opacity toggle. Now let's check out some need-to-know features located in the Tools menu. If the camera seems blurry while you're drawing, go to Tools, then Camera, and then you'll be able to adjust the focus manually using the focus slider. To apply image filters, press Tools, then slide the menu all the way over to Filters, then press Filters. From here, you can do things like change your image to grayscale, add posterization, or blur. Next to Filters is the Breakdown tool. This lets you break down your image into layers or steps by color value. For experienced artists, it'll help you analyze the notan or structure and composition of your artwork. For beginners, it turns any image into a draw by numbers project. One of the most powerful tools in the app is the strobe feature. This tool slowly flashes the overlay image on and off. This allows you to easily compare color values of your reference image to your drawing. The last absolutely need-to-know feature is the Record button. From there, you can record time-lapse videos of your drawings, just like these. Make sure if you post your time-lapse on social media to tag us for a repost. We're @Vinci Eye on all the social networks. If you need help with anything, press the question mark in the top right corner of the screen. From there, you can watch instructional videos, check out FAQs, or email us. We usually respond extremely fast to questions and feedback. And that wraps it up for our Classic Mode Quick Setup tutorial. For more in-depth videos, be sure to check out the instructional videos section of the app, or browse and subscribe to our YouTube channel, where we have tips and tricks, live streams, and guest artists teaching drawing and painting techniques using DaVinci Eye. get started with AR mode, you will need to create an anchor. An anchor locks your reference image in place so you can move your phone or your canvas, and as long as the anchor is in view of the camera, your reference image will align itself back perfectly with what you are drawing. To get started, take a business card-sized piece of paper or larger. Then take a black pen or marker and add lots of squiggles with many intersecting points and different shapes. The more tiny little details, the better the anchor will work. Also, the larger you make your anchor, the further away from your canvas you can have the phone and still have an accurate placement. It's a good idea to tape your anchor in place on your paper before you draw. This ensures that your reference image will always be in the right place. You should be prompted to make an anchor right away. However, if you want to make a new anchor, press Tools, then AR, then Anchors. To upload your anchor, press Add Anchor. Then press the purple button at the bottom of the screen to bring up the camera. Make sure your camera is perfectly level with the anchor. You don't want to have it tilted like this, or else it could distort your overlay image when it's virtually projected on your paper. When you're finished, press Use Photo in the bottom right corner of the screen. Next, you need to crop your photo. Drag the corners of the cropping frame to just inside the edges of your anchor. Make sure there is no background visible. The last step is to measure your anchor. Make sure that it is at least 3.5 inches wide. Take a ruler and measure your anchor's width. Then, type in the width and press Done. You should be brought back to the Anchor Manager screen. Here, you can press Done in the top left corner. Now your image should appear on top of the anchor whenever the anchor is in view of your camera. Do not try and hold the phone in your hand and draw. You can easily make a stand out of objects found around your house, like with tape and a tall spray can, a tall glass, or a vase. You can also purchase an inexpensive stand like this one. A link to stands that we recommend can be found in the app. Now it's time to position your image where you want it on the paper. Use 2 fingers to zoom out so you can see your paper as a whole. Then, press the Move button, and using 1 finger, you can pan your image. Using 2 fingers, you can enlarge, shrink, or rotate the image. When you have the image exactly where you want it, press the Move button again to lock the image in proportion. Now, you can zoom in to draw fine details, or you can zoom out to see your drawing as a whole. To make the image more or less transparent, you can press the Opacity button in the bottom right corner of the screen. You can use the slider to make your image more or less transparent, or you can use the opacity toggle to turn the image on and off. Now let's check out some of the need-to-know features located in the Tools menu. Once you have the phone set up, you can turn off the phone's autofocus by going to Tools, then AR, then Fix Focus. This will also refocus the camera to your paper if the camera is blurry. To apply image filters, press Tools, then slide the menu all the way over to Filters, then press Filters. From here, you can do things like change your image to grayscale, add posterization, or add blur. Next to Filters is the Breakdown tool. This lets you break down your image into layers, or steps, by color value. For experienced artists, it's a great way to help you analyze the notan or structure and composition of your artwork. For beginners, it turns any image into a draw by numbers tutorial. One of the most powerful tools in the app is the strobe feature. This tool slowly flashes the overlay image on and off. This makes it easier to see where you've drawn already and where you still need to draw, as well as helping you see what areas need to be lighter or darker. The last absolutely need-to-know feature is the Record button. From here, you can record time-lapse movies of your drawings without the overlay, just like this one. Make sure that if you post your time-lapse videos on social media to tag us for a repost. We're at Vinci Eye on all the social networks. We love to see what people are creating with the app. If you need help with anything, press the question mark button in the top right corner of the screen. From there, you can watch instructional videos on how to use the app, check out our FAQs page, or email us. We usually respond extremely fast and love to hear from artists and aspiring artists using the app. That wraps it up for the quick setup AR mode tutorial. For more in-depth videos, be sure to check out the instructional videos section of the app, or browse and subscribe to our YouTube channel, where we have tips and tricks, live streams, and guest artists teaching drawing and painting tutorials using the app.
Sorry, I was trying to figure out where the mute button was so I can talk. So hello, welcome. Hola, I don't speak any other languages than English, so I'm sorry. I should learn, but I haven't. So my name's Charity Low. I am a commission portrait artist. I started doing commissions since the COVID issue that happened. But I have been really interested and I've been really into art since I was really little because my mom was an artist too, a very talented artist. So she was my first teacher. Around the time when I started doing commissions, I had found the app and I am one of the biggest fans of the app. And I asked for a job and this is why I'm here. So, just give me a second. I need to turn down the volume on this. Okay. So, I recommend you drawing along with me. The reference photos can be found, in the Facebook group, in the featured post, or my personal Facebook page, which is Charity Lowsart, also in the featured posts, or you can find it directly in the app. So when you go onto the main screen, on the top left corner, there will be 3 purple lines. You click on that and then you choose the magnifying glass and type in Charity Lowsart. Go to my inspirations and just scroll down until you find the reference photo. I'm hoping to figure out a way to be able to just link it directly to the description so that it'll be easier to find. But hopefully that can be done sooner than later. Also with my inspirations, there's many stencils that you are free to use for whatever purposes, even if it's for a craft that you want to sell, it's all okay by me. If you want to have your artwork featured in the next slideshow, just send me an email with your name and as many drawings as you would like in there. I would really enjoy to be able to see a wide variety of different artists and their styles. It just makes things a lot more interesting to look at. If you do not have the app and you would like to try it for free for a year, I have an iOS promo code in the description. Android is currently free because they just dropped their brand new version of it. But it does have ads in it right now. It is a good opportunity to try the app for free before you purchase it without the ads. If you have any requests of what we should do in following videos, whether that be different mediums, different subjects, I am more than okay to do that for you. I'm just letting you know that pencil work and portraits are what I'm super skilled at. I know it very well, but I have done a bunch of other different things that could at least get you started on your creative journey. You can even request certain photos that are personal to you. And once it's done, I will send it to you for free, no charge for shipping or anything, the original drawing that I did. And then you could also request some challenges. So for example, if you want me to do a photorealistic portrait using only primary colors, then we can do that too. I'm here for you. Tech support. If you have any issues with the app, for whatever reason, just send a email to the app developer through info@davinciieapp.com. Please, you should join the Facebook group, Da Vinci Eye Apps group. There's a community of artists that share their artwork and that interact with others. I'm always there on a daily basis to make sure all the questions are answered. Everything is, everything's running smoothly. And I also do competitions and challenges for cash prizes. So, look into that. That would be awesome. And let's get into the features of the app that I absolutely love. So the first thing is, one of the coolest tools about the Da Vinci Eye app is that when you're using an augmented reality version of it, it locks onto a piece of paper that's got black and white lines or designs, whatever, that are about the same size as a card. You can either make your own, or you can print off one that's already set up in the app. So this is what the printed off one looks like. So it just follows that anchor. So if you have your desk at an angle or your phone at an angle, it doesn't distort the image when you draw. It makes up for that. This is also good if you accidentally bump your phone or tablet out of the way, or your drawing surface. And then it also makes it super easy to continue on a piece of artwork if you need to take a phone call or just need to take a break from it. So what I do with the anchor is I tape it down onto a clipboard as well as my drawing surface so that it is on the same plane. I do it on a clipboard because I usually have more than one project going at a time due to my work. And it also makes it super easy to clean up and put away. So, some of my favorite tools, I love using breakdown mode. So I usually have the cutout off. So you see how it's gray on the cutout. So that would be on and that would be off. I have about 5 steps, the exposure in the center, but you can play around with it. And then what it does is it gives you step-by-step stencils by color value. So you start off with your lightest with the step 1, and then you just get darker and darker as you go, which means less space that you color to, which is a great foundation for graphites or watercolors. I also recently, working on a commission, have found out that it's really good for when you're trying to do black surfaces to make sure you get a fairly decent range of black and grays, even though it's a very dark surface. So it still has dimension to it. But when I'm using colors, it's not very often that I use the breakdown mode, but it is one of my favorite tools. Another tool we're going to be using a lot of is the strobe feature. And what this does is it just goes back and forth between your reference photo and your drawing, so you can see the differences between the two and make the changes as you see the differences. So you can get really good photorealistic portraits doing it this way. I see the comments, but I don't understand anything other than English. I barely even understand English, so. So yeah, this is one tool that I'm going to be using a lot of throughout. You can use grid. This will help. So the grid is very useful for classic mode. It can help you square off the corners so that it won't be distorted when you use it if you're using classic mode. Torch is good for if you have poor lighting. It'll just use your phone's flashlight. The only thing about that is if you're using any medium that has like a glossy finish or shine to it, it will reflect back, making it a little hard to see where you've traced or where you've worked on and then what needs to be changed. Filters is fun, but I don't really use them. It does a whole bunch of different things. You can have inverted colors, so this is really cool. It's a really cool thing that some artists have done where, yeah, something fun to do. And record is also really fun. As long as you have it on, it go from the beginning to your drawing to the end in a very short period. Once it's done, it will also continue on the drawing, if the recording, if you are taking more than one day to work on it. But it's great for posting on social media. It's super cool. I enjoy watching that. I used to post a lot, but I can't because I got too much going on. My internet can't handle it. So with that said, we'll continue on. I'm going to quickly go over how I choose colors or different ways to choose colors. One way to choose colors is there's another app out there. We're not sponsored by them or by any means, but I feel like it's a really good tool when you're starting out. It's called Colored Pencil Picker. There's different versions of it. One is like a preset swatch or preset palettes that are based off of common colored pencil sets. And so what you do is you just upload your image, click on the area that you want to color, and then it'll give you all the different colors that is in there. So it's great for practicing and learning color theory. But it's not my favorite way of doing it. My favorite way of doing it is printing off the reference onto another piece of paper and then also making swatches of my pencil set. This gives me plenty of, options. I can change the palette as I please, get rid of some colors, add some new colors. But what I do is I look at a certain section, like let's say the wood here, and I look for the color that would best match. And from here, it would be this color right here. And then for the dark parts, I would say it's a mixture of gray and brown, dark brown. So that's how I choose. You could also, if you don't have a printer, just bring up a tablet, put it into a photo editing app or a drawing app, and then you can use the color picker to select a certain section, and then it'll bring up the color. And then you just do the same. You compare that color to your swatches. Start off with the obvious color first, and then use some other colors to kind of mix it to the proper color that you need. Just so you know, each method is going to have a slightly different, a different color to it. Different printers print in different colors. Different tablets show different colors. So don't worry too much about getting exactly like the reference. because it's different. It's just different regardless. So if that makes any sense. Minecraft. I do not play Minecraft. Okay, so let's get started. So let's go in here. Okay, the first, another thing I like about the app is you can zoom in to find details like a magnifying glass. So we are continuing on a section that we were working on earlier. I'm going to turn up the opacity and then turn on strobe. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look for the lightest colors in that section. We already kind of started this, but I'm going to continue on with it. So I see a tan, or not a tan, a cream colored. I'm going to try to stick to basic names for the colors because you might have a different pencil set than I do. And then I think I see a little bit of tan too. And a little bit of this really warm brown. And a little bit of blue. I think those are all the colors I see. Maybe a bit of gray too. I want to add another gray to my pencil set. A lighter one. It'd be nice. Okay. Now we're going to build up a base to this. So we're not really focusing on texture quite yet. We just want to fill in very lightly the areas so that there's no white poking through, or very minimum white. So we're going to do circular motions and light pressure, just putting these colors where we see them generally. You do not have to worry about exact placement because this is just a very light layer. It's just going to kind of, it's just going to kind of blend in. So you might see that I'm holding the pencil a little differently than normal. My pencil's getting smaller, so it's really hard to use the side of the pencil if I were to hold like this because I'm holding too close to the tip. So I like to hold it on from the top and use it that way. So you can get creative with even hand placements to get certain textures that you're looking for. So light pressure and circular motions, and we're just filling in the areas that we see this color very lightly. And then I think I'm going to add a little bit of blue to the bottom, just a little bit. So light pressure and circular motions. This pencil's a little longer, so I can actually hold the pencil at the end and use the side of the pencil. But either way works. We're just slowly building up. Just slowly. And let's see where we can see that cream colored. I mean, not the cream colored, the tan. And the dark, as soon as we start getting into the darker colors, then we need to focus a little bit more on placement. So here, it's not in a lot of places, but it's in the darker sections. So I'm going to try to get it generally in that area. Just using the side of the pencil still, but again, with a little bit more control than what we were doing with the first two layers. And a little bit of gray. Just very lightly. Now, if you're starting off and if you never used color pencils before and you're nervous, I recommend starting off with something that is more affordable. Like you can do some pretty good photorealistic art with just Crayola. It's not the best pencil to use, but they're pretty decent for the price. And I recommend using those more affordable options so that you can really work on the skills and techniques to create different textures and stuff. And then when you feel confident, then go and invest in something a little bit more pricey, or more, not pricey, but better quality, I would say. Another thing is when you're getting into colored pencils, after you've done a few with like some budget-friendly pencils, then let me see. Then you need to do some research on the type of pencils you're going to use, because each pencil has a different base for what it's made out of, and they have different qualities that have, like, each one has their pros and cons. So you just got to balance those out to what best fits you when you are starting with some higher quality stuff. There is one set of pencils that I do not recommend whatsoever, and that's Artist Loft or Office, what is it? Yeah, I don't recommend using those pencils because they're really difficult to use. I'm sorry, Artist Loft. If you can master using pencils that are budget friendly, then once you get into more higher quality pencils, then it's just going to really show off your skills a little bit more. So I am kind of working on texture right now too, in those darker sections. So I'm going in the direction of the fur. Rick and Morty. Never watched it. Okay, so now we're gonna look for the darker colors that we see, because we got the base down and we're gonna start building up texture. So we need a warm brown. A bit of black. We already got some gray. There's going to be some interesting colors that you won't actually think about that's there. So like, for example, there's some dark green and its contrast of dark red. These surprisingly, these are actually a really good combination for nice natural looking fur. Instead of using just black, those two colors are really good to get like a nice dark shade. And they're also recommended for skin tones too. Green and red for shadows. Just for some reason, it just makes it look more realistic. Let me see. Is there anything else? I think that's it. So let's get back to... I'm going to start off with the brown. Oh. And we're going to do small strokes following the direction of the fur, picking up the pencil every single time you place it down. You do not need to get every single little detail exactly This is kind of a high detailed version of Impressionism, if that makes sense to you. I don't know if it does. Makes sense to me though. We're just trying to build up those dark areas. We're not going to worry about texture in the light areas quite yet. It's going to be a slow process. Just remember, pick up the pencil every time you make a stroke. Zigzags just do not look very good. Do not do zigzags. And we're doing small, tiny lines. Follow the direction and also try to mimic the curvature of the fur too, so it looks natural. I really do hope we can get this done today. That way I can send this off to the person who requested me to do this. This would be great. And then also so we can get started on our next project, which our next project is going to be quite a bit different than what we normally do. We're going to be using Deco Art stained glass paint on floating frames. And yeah, it would be nice to get that started. So next week, we'll be ready to start filling it in with colors because it's a two-step process. The first step is doing the letting and the second step is doing the colors. And they take about 24 hours before you can do the next step. So, A-F-N-A-F-L-E. Brittle rabbit. Roy's favorites. For some reason, I'm trying to. I'm sorry. I'm trying to. We're building up the texture, doing small little strokes, just trying to fill it in. Really focusing on the dark sections first, and then we can add a few little details in the lighter fur afterwards. So some tips with colored pencils is you want to be able to do, you want to start off really light and slowly build up. That helps with that gives you plenty of opportunity to fix things as you go along. So you can get the placements right and the colors right before you finish it off with some heavier pressure. And then it also can help aid with blending. Let's get into some darker colors. I think I might go over it with a little bit of gray. Just follow the direction of the fur, do small strokes, try to recreate the curvature of the fur too. And remember, you do not need to get the fur exact to the photograph. You just use it as a guideline with the Vinci Eye app. So the Vinci Eye app will help you with placements and being able to compare your colors and shading and highlights, but it doesn't teach you the techniques of how to use your medium. And that's also a really important thing to learn, even if you are planning to do a different style of artwork. It can really aid in many different things like impressionism or doing more fantasy but slightly detailed work, and even with abstract work too. Being able to understand your medium really well can help you have a bit more control over other styles and of artwork. Every time I do a drawing, I always find something that that I've never done before or haven't practiced enough. It really does challenge me every single time. Okay, now it is time to use some green. I think I'm going to actually look at the reference a little bit more for this so I can get the better idea of the placement. So I'm just going to add some green. I know it seems so weird. It seems very weird to add green to a cat or a person. Just remember, do small strokes. Pick up the pencil every time. No zigzagging. So something you aren't seeing in these live videos is that I am streaming onto a TV that's above my head. Just makes things a little bit easier for me to see. And it feels comfortable to me. Okay, now we're going to go over all that green with a dark red. So this gets a really nice dark but realistic brown. And then we can go over with black for those really, really dark sections. I'm putting a little bit more pressure on this now because I really want to get it nice and dark in select places so I get a nice contrast. Pick up the pencil every time you make a stroke. Follow the direction of the fur, follow the curvature of the fur. And I'm going to go over it again with some brown and some of those lighter areas to give it a little bit of texture. And just make sure you're doing it in select places. You're not getting it everywhere. And we're doing very light pressure because this is very light colors. Digital. I've dabbled in some digital artwork, but this is a digital art tool for traditional artists. And this tool can be used for many different things. It can be used for that perfect sketch in your sketchbook, and put it onto a finished piece like a canvas or a wall. Because there's a lot of artists that are like, oh, I love this, but I don't think I can recreate it from scratch. So just tracing your image on there, or just doing a very basic outline and then adding your own style to it. Or you can go crazy like me and do photorealistic or even possibly hyper-realistic stuff using this as an aid for it. Hyper-realistic stuff actually takes it to a whole new level that even tracing cannot do. One of the most awe-inspiring pieces to me are hyper-realistic art because it's in large scale and super detailed, and it takes months to complete. So those are the people I look up to, but I find there's a lot of lessons to be learned by many different artists from many different styles. So yeah, they all have their lessons that you can learn. Okay, now we're going to use one of our favorite one of my favorite tools, and that is a colorless pencil. So the colorless pencil just helps fill in the gaps because there is like a texture of the paper that we can see poking through. So the colorless pencil pushes in that pigment. It also makes it more vibrant. So it looks more like it's a painting than it is a drawing. There's many different versions or many different ways to blend, and I'll go over them in a minute here. So what you're going to do with the colorless pencil is you're just going to push the pigment in. So we're going to do some fairly stiff pressure here. But we're following the direction of the first, so we keep the texture, but we're just trying to fill in those the texture of the paper. So there's different tools. Again, this one, you can use another colored pencil if you want. White is pretty good for light colors, but if you do it over top of dark colors, it kind of softens it up to more of like a pastel. But another con to that is that it fills up the paper so much that you cannot add more layers on top. If you want to have something a bit more vibrant, then you can use the lightest color of the colors in that particular section. Again, it fills up the paper quite a bit, so it makes it really hard to to overlap it with some more details. There is a blending marker you can get for colored pencils. It gives you kind of like a alcohol marker or watercolor effect with it. So if that's something you don't want, then don't do it. But if that's something that sounds interesting to you, with that method, you can wait until it dries and then go over it again with some more details if you need to. You can use a rubbing alcohol or hand sanitizer with a Q-tip. That also gives kind of like a marker or a watercolor look to it as well. Or do some research on the type of pencils you have. Because there's tools out there that are designed for particular types of pencils. And so you can get a solution and then just like a firm brush to help blend. Now, pencils do not blend really well, so you really need to practice your techniques on how to layer and fade. And then I want to tell you a little bit about the different types of pencils that are out there. Like the main ones are, most common ones are Prismacolor and Faber-Castell Polychromos. Prismacolor is a wax base. It's a little easier to blend, get really nice vivid colors, but you can't layer very well, especially if you put it on really hard at first. It's really hard to layer on top. But yeah, it blends really well, like fairly decently for colored pencils. But with polychromos, you can still get vivid colors. You can add lots of layers to it. I believe it's a little bit more color fast, which is how long it takes to, how long it will take for it to start fading. So I think the average is like 100 years before it starts fading. I'm not sure. I could be wrong. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, you can add more layers, which means more details, which means also more realistic styles. And then also for like the first few layers, you can actually erase it. You can still erase it if you get really dark, but it's not going to erase everything. It's just going to make it lighter. But do your research and see what you'd like. Prismacolor is a softer medium than Faber-Castell, which means they will break easy and they will you will go through them really fast. Faber-Castell, the oil-based pencils, they have a little bit more of a harder core, which is good for fine details and will last longer. Don't break as easily. So yeah, do your research. Choose what's best for you. Okay, now that well, let me see. Can I push this in a little bit more? Yes. I'm going to really push this right into those gaps. I really want to fill this in as best as I can. Get nice and solid. Remove the texture of the paper to make it look a little bit realistic. The colorless pencil doesn't add more to the paper. It just breaks the pigments down to make it to help you push it right into those gaps. I'm going to go over some of it with a white colored pencil just to bring out some of those lighter areas. Now this is going to fill up the gaps. It's going to fill the paper up, so it's going to be hard to layer over top of it. I'm going to do this all to every part that's a little bit lighter. Just putting this on top, following the direction of the fur. And I'm putting quite a bit of pressure on this at this point. Another thing I'm noticing in this drawing is that there's like layers of the fur. It's like super bright on the tips and then it fades into the dark areas, and then there's like another layer over top of it which is very bright in the tips and then just fades in. So I'm going to try to not, like I'm only putting let me just see. I'm only putting the white colored pencils at the tip and fading it out away from it, but I'm not going the other direction, just so I can get that trying to recreate that kind of texture, the bigger texture. The form. Okay, now we're going to go over it with a few lines. I'm going to add a little bit of gray. Just a few lines over top. Just to kind of give it a little bit more detail. We're not doing a whole bunch, just a little bit. And this one we're not going to blend out. I'm just going to let it lay on top. I dropped my water bottle. Okay, now we're going into the next section. So let's see what colors that are in this brightest sections. There's a slight blue. And again, we're going to start off really light. Do the light colors first and then add the details with the dark colors later. So we're going to fill in the gaps, holding the pencil at the end so that we can use the side of the pencil. If there's not enough ability to use the side of the pencil, hold the pencil in a different way, like from the top. That will help use that pencil on the side. Circular motions and light pressures, just really filling in as much as you can, right where you see that base tone. Even if you're getting into the really dark sections, that's fine. We are going to go over that with some more details with the dark. But we're just filling it in where we see that color. Light pressure and circular motions using the side of the pencil. Okay, and then let's see what other colors. I see a little bit of a tan. A little bit of a tan too. So we're going to add that. Light pressure and circular motions, holding the pencil at the end or from the top so we can use the side of the pencil. It helps with a really nice smooth texture. This is a really good habit for like doing skin tones, getting a nice blended effect. So yeah, even if you think that this is trying to get a nice smooth texture is not something necessary, just learn how to do it. More practice with this because you can do other things with this technique. There's a little bit of a cream tone to it as well. So light pressure and circular motions. Now we can start building up the texture. So we're gonna, I think I might add another layer with a very light gray. So light pressure and circular motions, and then we can start texture right after. Okay, now we're going to build up those darker sections, following the direction of the fur, picking up the pencil every time. No zigzags. Do not do zigzags. Individual strokes. And we can kind of focus on the darker sections first. Don't worry about the lighter stuff. We just really want to build up that the pattern on there, get some contrast going. we're really focusing on the pattern. So we're working on the dark sections, slowly building it up. We're getting so close to finishing this. They told me that they don't really want a background for it, so as soon as the cat's done, we are done. Okay, now we're gonna go in with some brown. So individual strokes, really focusing on the direction of the fur and the curvature of the fur to get a nice realistic effect. And I am still doing light pressure because I want to be able to build it up as much as I need to slowly. And then it also gives us some opportunities to fix mistakes. I am so excited to be done this. Okay, now we're gonna go in with some green. I'm now gonna really focus on the printed reference for this, for the placement, because I can kind of see the colors a little bit better for placement than I would through the app. So we got the basics of the pattern down. We're just adding some green in there as well. Again, green is a really strange color, but mix that with red and magic happens. It's really good for shadows of people too. Aw, thank you. I love you, Charity. Thank you. And then we're gonna go in with red over top of it. This gets like a really nice dark brown, and it kind of, this is where the magic happens. It just looks so realistic. The coloring looks realistic, even though we're using such strange colors. Now we can go in with the black. I love drawing art. Drawing is so relaxing. It is currently my therapy. and my job. So I'm going to really focus on the darkest sections with this black. And I'm putting a little bit more pressure than I was before. Just really focusing. You want to really build up that contrast. Don't worry, like don't be afraid of getting black, like straight black in some very particular places. The contrast really takes the art to a whole new level. If you have it nice and soft colors and shades, then it will look good, but it just doesn't quite look, eye-catching. So you really want to get that nice contrast between the black and the light areas of the cat. You want to give me an answer? Okay. You want to give me my answers? What is your questions? What's your questions? For some reason, I don't see any questions. And let's go back over it with a little bit of brown in those lighter areas. I'm going to not add too much, just enough to create some texture. So we want to pick up the pencil every time we draw a stroke. Pick up the pencil every time, no zigzagging, and we're just adding some of that texture right into those lighter areas. And they need to be slightly darker than what we have already anyways. But just doing that, slowly adding these darker hairs will help with that, getting the right shade. Okay, it is time for a break. I'm going to be playing a quick video of the Android version of the app, which is now pretty much the same as the iOS. But yeah, and then a slideshow, and then we can do some Q&A if you want. If not, then I'll just chat. Okay, you guys have a quick break. Stretch out your legs, get something to drink. We'll be back shortly.
Vinci Eye uses your phone's camera feed and lays a transparent picture that you want to draw over that camera feed. If you look at your phone's screen, you'll be able to see both the picture that you want to draw and the place where you want to draw it at the same time. This lets you easily trace an image onto any surface. To get started, you need to place your phone on top of a tall glass. If your phone doesn't have a case, it might slide around when you touch it. This makes adjusting settings while you're drawing very difficult. To fix this, cut a long piece of tape and fold it into a loop. Place the tape loop on top of your glass, and this will stop the phone from moving around. You can also place a tape loop on the bottom of your glass to stop the glass from moving around. If you're a lefty or a righty, it doesn't matter. You can position the phone any way that is easiest for you to draw. The higher that your phone is positioned, the more of the canvas you'll be able to see and the larger the picture you will be able to draw. Tall aerosol spray cans work great, or you can use one of our Vinci Eye phone stands.
which lets you easily adjust the height and position of your phone. Links to these stands can be found in the app. Now it's time to position the image on your paper. Press the Move button, and using one finger you can pan the image. Using two fingers, you can zoom, shrink, and rotate the image. When the Move button is unpressed, the camera will be locked together with the reference image. This lets you zoom out to see your drawing as a whole, or zoom in so you can draw fine details. To make your image more or less transparent, you can use the opacity slider. Move the slider to the left to make your picture more transparent, and to the right to make it less transparent. If you find that your pencil or paper is blurry as you're drawing, you can adjust the focus of your camera by pressing Tools, then Camera, and then Fix Focus. To record a time lapse, like this one while you draw, press Tools, then scroll all the way to the right, press the Record option, and then press the Record On switch. One of the most powerful tools in the app is the strobe feature. This strobes the image on and off so that you can compare color values and you can see places where you still need to draw. In addition to the multiple filters in the Filters tab, there is also the Breakdown feature in the Breakdown tab. This breaks down your image into layers by color value. For beginners, it turns your photos into a draw by numbers project. Or for advanced artists, it can help you analyze the structure and composition of what you are about to draw or paint. If you need help with anything, you can always press the help question mark in the top right hand corner of the screen. From there, you can watch instructional videos, check out our frequently asked questions, and even email us. We usually respond to emails extremely fast, and we love to hear from artists and aspiring artists using our app. Be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube and follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest to see instructional videos and demos of how to use all of the amazing features that are in Vinci Eye. started with AR mode, you will need to create an anchor. An anchor locks your reference image in place, so you can move your phone or your canvas, and as long as the anchor is in the camera's view, your reference image will align itself back perfectly with what you were drawing. To get started, take a business card-sized piece of paper, or larger. Then take a black marker and do your best Jackson Pollock impression. Make a lot of squiggles with many intersecting points and different shapes. The more tiny little details, the better. The larger you make your anchor, the further away from your canvas you can have the phone and still have accurate placement. It's a good idea to tape your anchor in place on your paper before you draw. This ensures that your reference image will always be in the right place. You should be prompted to make an anchor right away. However, if you want to make a new anchor, press Tools, then AR, then Anchors. To upload your anchor, press Add Anchor in the top right corner of the screen. Press the purple button at the bottom of the screen to bring up the camera. Make sure your camera is perfectly level with the anchor. You don't want to have it tilted like this or like this, or else it could distort your overlay image when it is projected onto your paper. When you're finished taking a picture, press the OK button at the bottom right corner of the screen. Next, you need to crop your anchor. Drag the corners of the cropping frame to the edges of your anchor. Make sure there is no background visible. Then, press Crop at the top right corner of the screen. The last step is to measure your anchor. Make sure that it is at least 3.5 inches or 8 centimeters wide. Now press Done. Now press Use Anchor. Your image should now appear on top of the anchor whenever the anchor is in view. Do not hold the phone in your hand and try to draw. You can easily make a stand out of objects found around your house, like with tape and a tall glass, tape and a tall spray can. You can also purchase an inexpensive stand like this one. A link to stands that we recommend can be found in the app. If your camera is not in focus, press Tools, then Camera, and then Fix Focus. This will refocus the camera to your paper. Your image will appear in the center of your anchor. To position your image on your paper, use 2 fingers to zoom out so you can see your paper as a whole. Then press the Move button, and using 1 finger, you can pan your image. Using 2 fingers, you can enlarge, shrink, and rotate your image. When you're done, make sure to press the Move button again to lock the image in proportion so you can zoom in to draw fine details, or you can zoom out to see your drawing as a whole. Now you can adjust the opacity. Press the opacity button in the bottom right corner of the screen to make the image more or less transparent. To apply image filters, go to Tools, then Filters, and then press the Filters button. Filters can make your image easier to draw by helping you see different elements more clearly. You can also use the Breakdown tool by going to Tools, then Breakdown, and then Setup. This lets you break down your image into layers by color value. This is great for turning any image into a paint by numbers tutorial, or if you're an advanced artist, it can help you analyze the no-tan or structure and composition of your artwork. To use the strobe feature, go to Tools, then Strobe. This tool slowly flashes the overlay image on and off, allowing you to easily compare color values of your reference image to your drawing. This is one of the most powerful tools in the entire app. To get to the last absolutely need-to-know feature, press Tools, then slide all the way to the right and press Record. Then turn the record switch on. This lets you record awesome time lapses of your artwork without the overlay, just like this one. Make sure if you post your time-lapse videos on social media to tag us at DaVinciEye for a repost. If you need help with anything, you can always press the help question mark in the top right corner of the screen. From there, you can check out our frequently asked questions, watch instructional videos, and even email us. We usually respond extremely fast emails and love to hear from artists and aspiring artists using the app. Be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube and follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest to see instructional videos and demos how to use all the awesome features DaVinciEye has built in.
Okay, welcome back. I did see that there's a couple more messages on the chat here. Garfield, yes, I know Garfield. And then there was a message rejected. So please keep things PG and nice in here. So yeah, I can't really answer any of those because yeah, the message was rejected. So anyways, so I'll tell you a bit about myself and my art history. So I've been drawing as long as I can remember. My mom was a portrait artist as well. She did mostly oil paintings and pencil work. And so I draw side by side with her past, like before I was even in elementary school, and it's always been a passion of mine. I started off with tracing, and then I did gridding, and then I learned how to freehand. So I can freehand if I want, but I absolutely love how fast this goes and how much more accurate it is when I'm done. I still use a lot of my skills in being able to see some details that might be a little off to fix them without the app. So if you want me to show you how to use the app on a minimal use, then I can do that too and go more into detail about other stuff that I don't really do much of in these. But yeah, you can draw along with me. There's reference photos in the Facebook group, my personal Facebook page, and also within the app as well if you look under Charity Lows Art and my inspirations. I really recommend doing that when I'm live, because the best way to learn is to actually do it. And I find when you're first starting off, it's nice to have that guidance throughout every step. I like direct shading drawing. I like direct shading drawing. You know that, India. Do I know India? No, I do not. I'm not 100% what you're saying. I have two things in my head and what you're trying to say, and neither one do I know. If you want your artwork in the future slideshow, just send me pictures of your artwork, and then send me your name, and then you can be posted in those slideshows and future videos. If you don't have the app and you want to try it for free for a year, there's a promo code in the description for iOS. For Android, it's currently free because they just dropped a brand new version of it, which is just catching up to the iOS, and they want honest reviews on the App Store, the Google Play. So try it for free. It does have ads, but you can buy a version without ads once you know for sure that you like the app and you'd like to continue with it. So it's a really good opportunity right now. If you have any tech support issues, please email the app developer at info@davinciieapp.com. Join the Facebook community, Vinci Eye App. We have plenty of artists that like to interact and communicate with each other there. A lot of questions are being asked there, and I'm there on a daily basis, just making sure everybody is getting the answers that they need to their questions. And I also host competitions and give challenges for cash prizes. So that's something that might be interesting to you. Message rejected. I am from Okay, so you're from India. Am I correct? I am from Canada. The app developer is American. I am the only Canadian who's working for the team. So yeah, that is it. How I started using the app is, well, I've been in and out of art. Never went to anything further than public school, but I did do art in every semester, and they had to actually give me a brand new course, which was art history, and I taught other kids about art history in high school. Never took art university or college. Self-taught for the most part. But as my adulthood, I've been in and out of art. Did it mostly as a hobby, but it wasn't until COVID hit where everything shut down that I needed to do something. So I started doing portraits for commissions, and shortly after that I found the app. I find that it was a lot quicker, and because it was a lot quicker, I could do more affordable prices for my commissions, and that means more customers. So it really helped me get through COVID. And then I also noticed that the Vinci Eye App was like reposting my artwork on their Instagram often, and I was telling my brother about it, and I thought it was super cool, and he said ask him for a job. So I asked him for a job, and this is why I'm here today. So I'm just rambling on. I'm sorry. Okay. I like drawing from my childhood. You like drawings from your childhood? Is that what you're trying to say? Oh, you liked drawing since you were a child. It's always like it's a step. You're a step ahead when you start really loving to draw as a child, but it's also never too late to learn a new skill. So don't feel like you can never get to a certain level of photorealistic artwork because you started late. My mom didn't do photorealistic paintings or drawings until she was like 30. And she is really good at her work. So, but I was lucky to start at a young age. Let's get back to the art, the drawing. So we left off by doing layers of brown. I'm just slowly building it up. Those lighter areas, we're just slowly getting them just slightly darker because they need to be that way. And I'm mostly focused on the printed reference than I am the app because I really need to see more details. I can actually see just slightly better without it, but the app does help quite a bit. I'm going to add a little bit of gray over top of that as well because it still needs to be a little bit darker. Follow the direction of the fur, the curvature of the fur. All of this really helps. Okay, let's see. Might want to add some darker gray in some areas to kind of fade out some of those sections into the rest so that's like, you know, I don't know how to explain it right now. I lost words. I apologize. Okay, Now I'm going to take my colorless pencil. This is one of my favorite ways to blend. It doesn't add any more to the drawing, so you can still add layers on top. But it does help push in the pigment, kind of break it down the bits of the colors and just really push it in, making it more vibrant, more solid looking. Gives it more of a realistic texture. So I'm using my colorless pencil. I'm following the direction of the fur, just really trying to cover up the entire space. You see how that's getting much darker and more filled out a little bit more. The texture is disappearing of the paper. So it's nice firm pressure. I'm not gouging the paper. We don't want to make any indents on the paper. We're just trying to fill in those gaps. And we're really trying to follow the direction of the fur still. This helps keep the texture that we put down, but we are trying to fill in all those gaps. So far, after today, it's going to be just under 14 hours of working on this. It's been a while, a long while. Really trying to push that right in, covering all that space. I'm kind of zigzagging now to just get some of these sections filled in a little bit better. There's more than one way to blend. This one's just my favorite way. It gets nice and vivid colors, doesn't fill in the paper completely, so we can add more layers to it. Please make some drawings on human faces also. Absolutely. I have done plenty of human faces. That is, I'll show you some of them. So I've done different mediums. So I've done this one in soft pastel. It's not my favorite. I have a whole bunch more on my wall, but I can't take the camera with me. So another soft pastel one. And let me see. That one's nothing. Let me see. We've done this one in graphite. Portrait work is actually my favorite. Like people portraits. And then I've done this one recently of colored pencil. So I'll be more than happy to do some more portraits. But I will put it on my list because the next thing we're doing is something completely different, which is stained glass painting. And that should only take 2 days to do. So like 2 weeks. And then we'll do some more portraits. And now I'm going to go over some of those lighter areas with a white colored pencil just to bring them out a little bit. Just getting it to pop, those bright areas pop out a bit more. That's what I'm trying to do. So yeah, what I'll do is I'll do the stained glass painting that was requested before portraits, and then I'll do another portrait. So rejected messages, a whole bunch of time. Please make some drawings of human faces also. Why is there a whole bunch of rejected messages? Garfield, why is there a whole bunch that's been rejected? Or is it retracted? Retracted messages. I'm misreading it because I am dyslexic. Okay, so we're gonna go over some with some details. And then we have one more section to do. Just one more little section to do. I think I might add a soft shadow underneath, and then we can be done after this. So we're gonna start off with the light colors using the side of the pencil. So if the pencil's short, kind of hold it from the top. If it's long, just hold it on the tip, and then you can use the side of the pencil. But this one's fairly short, so I'm gonna do it this way. So light pressure and circular motions, we are just trying to fill in a nice base because there's not really any white showing through. If there was white showing through, there's many different ways you can do it. You can either just try to draw around it, or you can take a empty pen and indent it so you can get some nice bright colors, bright whites. That's what I did for the whiskers. And then we're gonna go and use some tan for some of this. Again, we're just doing some light pressure and circular motions. We're not too worried about perfect placement at this point. Or any, it's very loose. It is a very loose placement. There's a slight blue on the bottom part of this, so we're going to add that. Light pressure and circular motions, and again, it's just very loose. We're not going to be perfect in the placement. We're not worried about texture. We're just trying to get a nice base underneath everything. And then there was a nice warm brown. This one I'm going to be a little bit more aware of the placement because this is a little darker, but it doesn't have to be super strict in placement either. But it's just a little tighter than it was. A little bit more intentional. Now let's build up. Are you married? Absolutely, I'm married. I've been married for 7 years now, and I married my childhood crush. The only reason why I'm not wearing a ring is because I gained so much weight from pregnancy and stuff that it doesn't fit anymore. I was going to get it resized so it can fit me, but the jewelry place said that it was too much of a difference between what the ring was and what my fingers are now, which saddens me. But yes, I am married with 2 kids. We're doing the lighter layers with the brown, being a little bit more intentional by the placement, really focusing on the direction of the fur and yeah. Pick up the pencil every time you make a stroke. Okay, now we're gonna go in with some gray. His belly fur is so crazy. It's all over the place. There's no rhyme or reason to it, it looks like. So we're gonna have fun. Okay, a little bit of green in those really dark sections. Gives it more of a natural effect. I know it seems so weird that green would look so good after inside of the dark areas. Just logically, if you don't know color theory, logically it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Okay, and then we're gonna go over it with some red, and you just see the magic happen here. Nice dark brown. And then we're we're going to go in with that black just for those really dark sections so we can build up some contrast. That contrast is really important for photorealistic artwork. Your art will look nice if you do really soft colors, but it won't be super eye-catching. If you want that eye-catching effect, you are going to want some really dark sections. And we're gonna go over it again in some brown, just to get some more texture in that fur, that light fur. So we're following the direction of the fur, the curvature, picking up the pencil every time we make a stroke. We're not putting a lot of pressure on because this is very light. We are so close to being done, and I'm super excited to move on to the next project. Like, yeah, this took a long time. Plus all the times that I missed because of things happening in life, because life happens. Yeah. And then this is going to be sent to somebody who requested it. Super fun. So I do commission portraits still on the side. But if you allow me to make live videos out of your references, your personal photographs, then I will send you these drawings that I do in the lives for free. Don't have to pay anything. Okay, now we're going to go in with the colorless pencil, one of my favorite blending tools. We're just going to push that pigment right in, trying to fill in the little white gaps so that it looks more solid. It doesn't look completely like a drawing. It's more of like a painted effect. And really trying to focus on being in the same direction of the fur that you were doing before so that we don't lose much texture. Different methods of blending is 1, the colorless pencil, which is my favorite. 2, using a white colored pencil. It gives it a little bit more of a smoother effect, but it also fills up the paper, so you can't really add any more layers to it. So that's one of the reasons why I don't like it, as well as it makes things so soft. Like makes the colors just fade a little bit, which I also don't like doing. Or you can use a lightest version of the color that you're filling in and use that to blend. You can use a blending marker that gives it more of like a watercolor or a alcohol marker effect. You can use hand sanitizer and a Q-tip, or do some research on the types of pencils you are using, and then find some certain solutions, and then you use a paintbrush to help blend. But it only blends so much, no matter which version, like whatever method you're using. So practice creating a blended effect with the pencil without the blending tool first. It's more important, the placement, how you place the pencil is more important than the blending. itself because, yeah. I feel like I need to add a little bit more detail in that white part of the fur. So I'm going to do another layer over top to give it just a bit more texture. It just feels like it's lacking in texture. I'm not going to blend this out. At least I don't think I'm going to need to blend this out. We'll see. I'm going to add a little bit of this warm brown too in here. Okay, I think I'm going to go over it with a little bit of white on top of some of this. It's going to help fill in the space. And this is going to really fill up the page doing this, so it's going to be really difficult to add any more texture on top. So you got to be aware of that. But it does have like a much smoother effect than the colorless pencil. I think I'll go over it again with the colorless pencil just to make sure I really get those gaps filled up so you don't see the texture of the paper very well. I don't like the texture of the paper. We're going to just take a look at it and see if there's any sections that we feel like we missed. There are sections that I feel like needs to be blended a bit better to get rid of that texture. Just doing our final little details now. Then I want the cat's floating, so I want to make it so it looks grounded. I'm going to take a gray, kind of following like the shadow of the original image. It's very faint, but it is there. So we're gonna do a light pressure and circular motions just to kind of get that shadow underneath there so it looks like it's on something and not just floating in the air. So it's just gonna kind of look like it's in one, like in a photo room or something, photography room. So it's a little bit darker closer to the cat, and then it fades out as it gets further away. You want to try to get this nice, solid, and like try not to have like the pencil strokes. So it's just easier to just do circular motions to help fill that in really good. So a little bit darker, real close to the cat, and then it just fades out. Really trying to make sure those pencil marks aren't really noticeable. I kind of see that the shadow kind of comes a little bit, gets a little bit thicker around the body of the cat, and then it fades, like it gets smaller again. So just light pressure and circular motions. I think I might do like a black line kind of really close to the cat. I'm going to do a little bit of black. So just light pressure. We just want to make this slightly darker, closer to the cat. And right where there's light fur, we're going to try to keep that texture there a bit. I don't want to lose that texture of the fur kind of just overlaying. There we go. And I think I'm going to go straight into the white colored pencil. I hope this works. I hope this is nice and smooth. We shall see. I didn't do enough layers. So enough layers of this gray to make it look pretty solid. So I'm going to go over it again with some gray. We still got like that pencil mark that we want to try to get rid of. You don't want to have obvious pencil marks in this. I'm hoping this will be enough layers because I really don't want to spend a whole bunch of time on this. This is just so that we can get a nice, make it look like it's actually sitting on something. Let's see if this worked out a little bit better. Going back with that white colored pencil, going over the entire space. Also doing circular motions. I have a feeling that this is just going to have pencil marks because I am, or like the look of pencil strokes, because I am just done. I am done with the drawing. Maybe the floor has some texture like this, who knows? Maybe that's just the texture of the floor. We're just coming up with this as we go. I feel like I need to get a little bit darker in some areas on this cat, like underneath the cat. So, yeah. The cat's glowing. You don't want the cat to glow. And we're gonna get in there with some dark texture of the fur and we're doing some fur texture and then also just doing some circular motions underneath it just so that it kind of just combines together. And then circular motions underneath. We're going to do it all the way around the cat. So some fur texture and circular motions underneath that. So just, there's no halo going. Fur texture, circular motions. Just over and over again, just all around the bottom part of the cat. Now I think I'm going to use the colorless pencil to blend that in. Ooh, maybe this colorless pencil can help with the texture of that shadow, make that kind of disappear. I think I like that. I think that was a happy little accident that I just come across. Ooh, that's getting rid of all that texture that I was not liking. My hands are starting to hurt. That's how much pressure I'm putting down on it. I'm following the direction of the fur when I'm on the cat, and then circular motions just underneath it so we can get a nice smooth texture. Like a very bad glare from that light. We're almost done. Almost done. I think I'm going to go around the edge of the shadow, circular motions, kind of give it a transition between that white and the gray. I'm going to do another layer of white on top of it. I'm really trying to get this nice and smooth. Okay, how does it look? Let's take a look at it from the view of the phone, turning off the strobe. So there's the drawing, and then there's original. It needs more. It needs more black right in here. I'm just going over it with a black pencil just to get that nice and dark. This is just kind of finding those little differences, the little differences that we missed. Our fine details. And we don't have to blend this out. We can if we want. Or we can just leave it on top. Your choice. Just picking up the pencil every time you make a stroke. And I'm putting quite a bit of pressure on this because I really want to get that nice contrast. This is my finishing touches. Don't zigzag. We don't want to zigzag. Okay, let's take another look at it. Compare it to the reference. Let's see. Let's go back and forth. I think that's better. It's not perfect. It's not perfect. Another quick look at it. I think it looks, and then let's take a look at it as compared to the reference that we were using that's printed off. You know what, I think that's good. Again, it's not exactly like the photograph, but it looks pretty darn good. Now, let me just grab a pen from my messy closet. Let me see if I can find one of my favorite pens. There it is. Okay. Now, traditionally, signatures are in the bottom right corner. Other artists have done signatures sneakily within the picture itself, like Van Gogh put it on like the vases where his sunflowers were in. But I'm gonna do my signature in the bottom right. I have a very scratchy signature, and that's partly because of my previous job that I used to have. I was a help aide, so I signed lots of things, and it just got messy. So we're going to move this out of the way. We're done with that. We're going to peel this off. The easiest way to peel off tape without ripping your drawing is to have it really, peel it off with your hands really close to the table, like still touching the table and pulling at like a 90-degree angle very slowly. That prevents, I find that that's the best way to prevent any tearing of the page. Okay, something I do due to the fact that I had artwork stolen from me intellectually. Like they paid for the artwork, but they removed my signature and put their signature on it trying to resell it. I now do my signature in a pen or marker, and I also do the date. Write my name in print and then sign it again right in the center. So they cannot remove my signature without cropping out pretty much the entire center of the drawing, and that's where the most important part of the drawing is. So write down the date. Now what is the date today? April 3rd, right? By, and then sign it one more time. So other things I like to do, especially if they're commissions, is I like to give them a letter of authenticity, which includes the date, the medium, and another signature, a little thank you note, and yeah. When I mail it, I have 2 pieces of corrugated plastic that has the lines going in different directions so you can't bend it through in the mail. And then I also put it in like a bag so that it's waterproof just in case the outside of it gets wet. So those are my tips for you. But let's clean up. Let's clean up the mess, and we might be able to do some stained glass painting. I don't know. Or should I just call it a day? Maybe I should call it a day, and then we'll do stained glass paintings next week with a few other just a few studies of more realistic stuff for filling in the time. I don't know. You guys tell me, what do you want to do? Oh, it was upside down. No wonder it didn't feel quite right. The box is upside down. We're not going to need a clipboard for the next project, but I'm going to show you what the next project is. So we're gonna need stained glass paint by Deco Art. So there's leading. There's 3 different types of leading that they have. There's black, gold, and silver. And then all the different colors that we have for it. You can buy this. I believe there's some of them that are on Amazon, but just beware that the price is kind of hefty right now because of how crazy everything is. But you could also buy it directly from their website, decoart.com. So just depending on where you're at, it might be a little bit pricey. And then we're going to need a floating frame. And I think I'm going to use one of my cheaper frames for this. I'm going to open this up. So this frame was from the Dollar Tree. So it's pretty, I'm happy that the frames didn't cost much, to be honest. But this was $1.75. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna tear off the little photograph holder thing. You can take some acetone to get rid of the little white specks here. To clean that up, but it doesn't really matter too much because that's the back of the painting. And you're also going to want a dry erase marker. So the floating frame is a completely see-through frame, so that way you can hang it up in your window or have it on your desk with the light underneath it, and it has like a really nice glow to it. I think we will start. We'll start with this. We'll work on it. So with the app, let's see, is it going to pop up again? Or do I need to get this back going again? Start. Okay, back into the app. We're going back to the leave main page. You can use your own designs. Then you can go to the top left corner. There's like 3 purple lines, and then go search profile, search under charitylowsart. And then go to inspirations, and there is a ton of images you can choose from. So I'm gonna scroll down quite a bit. I think there's some that I think would work best for this. So let me just scroll down until I find, I wanna do the rose again. I've done it before. See, but I really like the rose. So I'm just gonna scroll down. There we go. There's the rose. Click on it. Click the little photograph icon. Press to draw this. We're just gonna do classic mode. And just give me a second. Settings. We're gonna trace on the back of our floating frame. So where the hook is, where you have it to hang, you want to be doing this part on the back. So we're gonna move this around, get it to the right size that we want it to be. You can square off the edges so that it's nice and perfectly aligned. Turn the move off, zoom in, use a dry erase marker, and then we're just going to trace those lines. I'm using a colored dry erase marker because I can see the lines a little bit better in comparison to what's on the screen. If I did black, it would be a little bit harder to tell where I've traced. I'm going to simplify this a little bit more. This is very detailed, so just making it a little more manageable. So classic mode, because this isn't going to take multiple days to trace, this is going to be super simple and easy to do. And then what we're going to do next, we're done with the app again. So we're going to turn that off, and then we're going to flip the image around, and then we're going to trace with the leading over top of it. I think I'm just going to do a classic black. I'm going to need a spare piece of paper or something so that I don't get any bubbles. So we're going to do some, you can get like a palette or disposable plate or something. And then we're going to just practice our lines. I'm just going to follow those traced lines here. Nice, slow, and steady pressure so that it makes it nice and even. So once this live video is done, I'm going to finish the leading if I don't have the time to finish it now, and then do it again on live. And then this one will just be the continuation of that video. So I'll do from beginning to end in the next live. Kind of how they do the cooking shows where it's like, wait 30 minutes in the oven, and then they already have like a cake or whatever ready for the next step for the live cooking shows. Now I've done this quite a bit of times already. Like I've made enough projects with this that it just comes super easy now. I've done a couple of glass coffee tables entirely in stained glass paint. If your hands are a little wiggly, you can just hold the tip of the leading just above it so that it has a nice smooth lines. Here's a fun idea for you. Once you get used to doing this and you're pretty good at it, if you ever want to do like a arts and crafts table at like a farmer's market or something, or a craft show, you can have a little section of like for kids or whoever to fill in with the colors, for kids, for them to just do a craft along with you. And it actually was the thing that sold the most, was just having that experience of being able to do a craft. I made a bunch of these, probably even smaller ones actually. And I made the leading first, and then I had a bunch of them ready for a farmer's market. And yeah, people would rather do that than buy the art from me. Just a little side hustle idea for you. So just nice and steady pressure. I think I'm going to simplify this just a little bit more than I already did, because it's going to be really small sections to fill in. Let me just finish this up and then we can call it a day. And again, next week I'll do from beginning to end of the process here, using this one as like the dried version of it. So I'm almost done. I'm almost done. Try to make sure that the lines are touching each other so that there's no gaps. And then one more thing I'd like to do before I let it dry is I like to go around the edge of it, especially when I'm not doing the full piece. I need to do the edge of it so that the colors will stay inside. You can add a little bit of a geometric shapes all the way around if you'd like, but I kind of like the idea of the stained glass kind of just floating in the center. So I'm going to quickly do the outlines of the edges here, just so that that color later, when we do the color, stays in its place. This is actually the hardest part because it's really hard to keep that straight line. Okay, that is it. How to store these paints so that you don't have any issues for the next time you use them. Make sure the tip of it's cleaned for one. Clean the tip of it. And then also take a needle. There's a needle in here that's kind of already stuck. And stick that needle in the hole and close the lid on top of it. This way it keeps the tip from getting clogged with dry paint. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it as this. We're gonna let it dry, and then next week we're going to go again from beginning to end. I will post some templates in the Facebook group, so you guys are aware. This is DecoArt stained glass paint, and you want the leading and you want the color. You want both of them. You can buy them directly on their website, or you can also find them on Amazon. And what's going on here? What are you? Almost done, sweetheart. You want to come here? Okay, I'll see you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I gotta go because there's a child on the loose. Love ya.